does it say final battle instead of the time meter? Anyways, hey, Crystal Maiden here. And here we're ending off the game. Of course, there's a whole bunch of extra parts after that showing off the missions and stuff. Mods and stuff like that. Anyways, this boss is infamous. And a lot of people consider it to be one of the worst, if not the worst fight in the franchise. This is mainly because of how obtuse it is. It's kind of hard to figure out what you're supposed to do. And the constant chattering doesn't exactly help you. Spam the boost button when you're getting close to the core, but hold it most of the time. Because if you just hold it, then you're not going to get up here. I'm not sure why it's like that. I guess it's like sail pumping in Wind Waker, where the initial starting burst of speed is so fast compared to the rest of the speed like afterwards. So it's actually better to just spam the button and you'll go faster on average. I guess it's like sail pumping in that sense, but for some reason it is better to just hold the boost button most of the time. It's kind of hard to tell the difference between the two Sonics because they're both golden, and like classic Sonic is completely covered in, he's like a golden ball, so it's kind of hard to tell which Sonic you're playing as. You can technically get rings in 3D, but, well, the rings are so hard to see, and by the time that they come close enough to you that you register what they are, it's already too late. You should always hold down the boost button, and one of the reasons is that it attracts rings to you, so you don't even necessarily have to go into them. You can only get rings reliably in the 2D sections, which is why you should always switch to classic Sonic with a Y button when you're running out of rings. I almost ran out of rings here. It's a really good thing that they actually stop counting down your rings during that cutscene, and they actually give you some more rings after that. So that's really merciful. See, you just switch to 2D, and they basically hand you a huge amount of rings. Like I said, I did massive amount of research for this before I actually played the fight, because I was so worried that I wouldn't be able to beat it. And I guess that's the reason why I beat it on the first try, because I just did so much research. But I did research for the 3DS version too, and it still took me forever to beat it. I don't understand what the purpose of that move is. Like, it's not actually really doing anything, it just slows you down. And it doesn't actually hurt you. In fact, none of the attacks actually hurt you. I think that's sort of a dodging the clock hands thing. But, like, see, in the 3DS version, dodging the hands of the clock was a nightmare because you were moving so fast, and it was basically based on luck whether you managed to dodge them or not. So, it's good that you don't have to deal with that going through clock faces attack here. And another annoying thing was that if you went too far to the left or right and you hit the spherical part of the clock, the outer edge of it, in the 3DS version, then you would get hit, and you get knocked all the way back, which is exactly what would happen if you got hit any other way in that area. Like, you get hit by the clocks, and you get sent all the way back, and you have to do it all over again. Like, if you got hit, then Eggman would repeat his attack, and it would just pad stuff out. But yeah, you should stay in the 2D sections to get rings. Like, boosting will keep, like, attracting rings to you. That's the thing. They actually give classic Sonic the boost here. And nobody really cried foul on it, even though a lot of people were upset that he got the homing attack. Like, you might as well just give him green eyes while you're at it. About that, like, I prefer the modern Sonic design, to be honest, because, like, Sonic was based on Mickey Mouse, sort of, in design, and I think that classic Sonic's pudgy chest makes it a little too obvious for someone who was meant from the very beginning to be a cool, edgy action hero. Because he's supposed to be the edgy counterpart to Mario, but he has this silly looking Mickey Mouse chest, and it doesn't really work. So he looks a lot better as the modern design. I was boosting, so that gave me rings. Boosting all the time is how you're going to make sure you don't run out of rings. That and just switching to 2D. This boss is very complicated, and I had to do a lot of research to make sure that I avoided it. I think to dodge that attack, you just have to, like, he creates a purple spear and that's your warning that it's going to show up. So I didn't really have a problem with dodging it that much. Like, none of his attacks actually make you lose rings, they just sort of slow you down. A lot of people have trouble with how they get right up to the core, and then the boss just goes away from you. And again, just spam the boost button, and that's how you'll catch up with it. I wish they actually told you that, though. You don't really feel fast in this fight. Like, the whole time you just feel like you're pushing through a river of molasses. Although it's not nearly as obvious and glaring as it is in Advanced 2's boss fight, where you're on a 2D plane, so it's a lot more obvious, visually, how slow you're going, and how long it takes you to catch up with a boss. In a 3D plane, at least, it's kind of harder to tell, because of, like, you have to depth perception. Like, this boss drags on, but, like, again, I was expecting to take over an hour. I was expecting to have to constantly re-record and do a whole bunch of cuts to all the deaths. But I died less to this than in every other Supersonic section ever. Like, I'm mainly thinking of the 2D ones. Like, this was much better than the Rush Supersonic section to me, and Rush Adventure. I never even beat legitimately, I just used codes for it. I never really liked any of the 3D Supersonic sections. I think this is... Like, I hated Final Hazard, where you're basically always going either up or down while moving forwards towards the boss. And that made it very wonky trying to boost into the... Well, not boost, but dash into the tumors that were the weak spots. And because of that wonky control, it's also very easy for you to get hit by one of the mini lasers or something. It get knocked really far back. And it was just frustrating. Especially since it's not like you could switch to the other character with the press of a button. You had to take a long time going to some arbitrary location to switch. Whereas with this, you could just switch with the press of a button. The reason I got stuck here was because I didn't realize that you're supposed to hold L and R, the L trigger and R trigger button. Like, I didn't realize you're supposed to hold the two shoulder buttons in order to get past it, because Tails just said press the buttons together. He didn't say to keep holding them. And it was only when I turned up the volume and listened to what they were saying that I finally got the idea of what I was supposed to do. So that was the only really unintuitive part to me. I think if you don't have your resolution high enough, it's going to be impossible for you to actually see the rings coming in 3D before you can attack them, like get them. Yeah, if you don't die at all, then they give you an automatic S rank. At least, I'm assuming that, I think the way it works is, if you're going to get an A rank, but you don't die, then you get an S rank. Like, I'm pretty sure you can't avoid a D rank when you're playing badly for a really long time just because you didn't die. I don't think they're gonna give you an S rank then. You know what's also confusing about that final cutscene? Is that, like, all Sonic's friends are showing up, and they're expected to find it heartwarming because they're just one-dimensional jokes. Oh wait, that's not heartwarming at all.
Where does somebody put all those gold rings? You know what? I don't know. I keep forgetting.
You know, what's funny about that is, in the Japanese script, Classic Tails asked Modern Tails how he could add legs to Sonic's tornado. So it doesn't make any sense that Modern Tails wouldn't know about how rings work, since they're a natural part of Sonic's world. You think they would all know that rings get absorbed into your aura's energy. And of course, this is him trying to learn the homing attack. And he basically does the air dash, and without being curled into a ball.
Sweet! And you're only gonna get better!
I prefer to think that he just learns it from his experiences in Sonic 3D Blast with the Golden Shield. Because at least he doesn't do the homing attack successfully right away. Although that would be a natural lead into Sonic 4.
Hey, Sonic! Enjoy your future! It's gonna be great!
This was a very Mox line considering the bad games that the franchise is associated with. But come on, what are they supposed to say? Like, it is sort of a marketing thing, you know? They would get in trouble if they said that it wouldn't always be great. And from Sonic's perspective, the future would be great. Like, how's he supposed to know that bad games are bad? I'm sure from his perspective, when he was playing through those bad games, he was having a lot of fun. Because he has fun with his adventures. So it makes sense in universe, it just kind of fails in a meta sense, which is weird because the entire story is basically meta. So whenever it tries to be meta, it fails. Like, it says that no one calls Robotnik Robotnik, even though plenty of people still do. But yeah. What I was going to say about the rivals earlier was that it doesn't make any sense that, like, Silver doesn't just grab Eggman with his telekinesis, and it doesn't make any sense that the rivals would be there cheering for Sonic when they fought against him earlier. And, like, how does beating Silver in a fight prove that you're not a fake? That's stupid. It just makes it all more arbitrary that you're fighting him. Like, the story doesn't really make any sense, and it's very underwhelming for a huge anniversary title. Like, compare that to the anniversary title Sonic Adventure 2. To be honest, I don't really think that they should ever do as huge of an anniversary title as this ever again. Because I think they can't really get away with this kind of thing again. Like, just doing nothing but old levels, doing nothing but nostalgia. I mean, it worked for an anniversary game. But I don't think they can ever get away with doing this ever again. Like, even for Sonic's 100th anniversary, I don't think they're going to get away with that, and I don't think they should do that. I'd rather just have, like, mostly new content. Like, I can handle the occasional reference once in a while, but a lot of people complain that this game is playing it safe. Honestly, I love this game. The boost gameplay, it's brought back from Unleashed. Like, it's what everyone loved about the day stages of Unleashed. Although, to be honest, I don't think the levels accommodate it nearly as well as Unleashed did, where it was mostly about rewarding you for boosting. Because you had so much more 3D drifting, and you had so much more quick-stepping, and the levels took so much more advantage of Modern Sonic's unique abilities, and then you get to Generations, which is so much more 2D and so much more basic platforming, where you're just jumping from platform to platform, and that's literally it. My favorite mission in the game is that Planet Wisp at Dusk mission, where you take full advantage of the stomp and the wall jump and the, like, all sorts of modern Sonic platforming abilities. So why couldn't the rest of the game have been like that? I think the level design has taken a step back from Unleashed. I think they really created something special with Unleashed, and I don't think, like, sure, it's a platformer series, but I don't understand why people demonize Unleashed's level design just because it's not all about platforming. Does it really have to be? I don't know. Like, there's no reason there can't be super fast speed sections and then a proper transition to slowly get you out of speed to get you into, like, 3D and 2D platforming sections. Because, again, Rooftop Run just randomly thrusted you into platforming sections at the drop of a hat. And then you instantly had to adjust to that, and I hated that. Like, in general, I love this game. Like, I love how the controls are so much smoother. I've never played HD Unleashed, but I've heard that the controls are better than that. And I just love how the way the boost mechanic is so much better than Unleashed. Like, I just love the thrills of going fast. You know, like a Sonic game is supposed to do. I don't know why some people hate the boost gameplay. I honestly don't understand why you would hate such thrilling and fun gameplay. Unless either you're just not very good at it and find it very frustrating because of that, or you're just like, I don't know, like, if you hate going fast, then I think Mario is a better choice for you, because Mario is much more focused on the platforming, whereas Sonic has a gimmick in the form of speed, which all of the levels have to be designed specifically to accommodate it. By the way, I love how Sonic 06's screenshot footage is mainly just consisting of scripted sequences that try to make the game look good. Although right before that, you saw manually jumping from rail to rail because there's no rail switching at all. They do show off the 3D platforming section with the homing attack though. From the PC demo remake, the homing attack, I've really gotten spoiled by the targeting reticule. It's very nerve-wracking trying to aim the homing attack and not screw it up and press A the wrong time in 06. I think it would have been much better if they had the targeting reticule there, so you always knew when to do it. I really like how the screenshot footage is all from the original games that they're from. Like, it's a nice nostalgia trip along with the nice credits medley that plays. The following game versions are used for screenshots. Sonic Adventure 1 on the Dreamcast, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle on the GameCube because it's the best version, Sonic Heroes on the PC. Well, I guess it's the best because of modding, but it's kind of graphics flickering with Windows 10. And I think you have to get a patch for that sort of removes the face icons on the HUD, which is weird. I just always thought that the GameCube version was the best. And I never knew that there was a PC version until recently. Anyways, they show off Sonic 06 and Unleashed on the PS3, even though that's the worst version. Like, the PS3 version of Sonic 06 has even worse load times than the original. So that's weird. And of course they show off Sonic Colors for the Wii. It's not really clear which versions were used for the classics. Oddly enough, even though the credits use the revised Japanese version of the original Sonic 1, the unlockable emulation of it on consoles was the original American release. The Werehog life icon in Generations code was actually found when it was leaked from its demo being data mined hell and back. And that actually caused people to worry that the Werehog would be back in this game. And to be honest, I was actually worried that with the third playable character of Forces, that they were going to basically do something like the Werehog again. Then it turned out that it was just Colors gameplay. And, well, Colors gameplay is alright, so... It also seems to have, like, the boring Rise of Lyric press a button to activate a cutscene thing, where it's you just automatically swing on a rope. It's kind of weird how some characters say weird stuff in the Chao Garden, like ish and yush. That's actually because some characters, most notably Tails and Eggman, have untranslated voice clips in the Chao Garden, which is pretty lazy. Fun fact, the Chao in the kindergarten are actually singing in Japanese. And all my life I actually thought they were singing in gibberish. I believe that cheering was actually real recordings of fans from, like, the Sonic Boom event in Summer of Sonic. And, like, you can actually hear FTA's voice as one of the many voices in that cheering.
Are you sure you saw a door over here?
Flying Chao look a lot like Knights from the Sega game Knights. Which makes sense, because Knights is all about flying around through rings. They're not talking at all, but god, this is such terrible cutscene presentation. In the Japanese version, they had stuff to say, but they just mute it in the English version. Are too lazy to actually replace it with real dialogue. This cutscene shouldn't have even existed. It just creates a plot hole that they're too lazy to actually explain. How did they get out of here? There is no time here. So why aren't they already being rescued? Why is them waiting for Orbot and Cubot to rescue them with the Lost Hex, which I assume is how they rescue them, because they never explained it. How does... If there's no time here, then why haven't they immediately been rescued? Why is waiting doing anything if time can't pass? And why can they talk at all? Because they're passing time by talking. How is anything able to progress if they're in frozen time?